What's up, guys? I wanted to talk to you today. It's middle, it's like the middle, what are we, third week into October, into the last quarter of the year. It's time to, if you haven't already started, it's time to start thinking about what you're going to do next year. Because that's part of the game, is staying ahead of where you're going and what you're doing in your business. So what are your revenue targets going to be like next year? How much growth do you want to see percentage-wise too? So that can help you project what you're going to do next year. So if you know what you did each and every month, and if you don't, you should be able to figure that out. And even if this is your first year in business, you should know what you did each month. And then how much do you want to grow by? 20%, 30%? Maybe you're at a higher level and you're not seeing that type of growth anymore. So maybe you want to, it's not that it's not possible. I know it's possible. I know that there's guys out there doing it, and gals. But it's what's right for you. That's the thing about projections, that we tend to make it so difficult. We tend to give almost too much thought into it. And that's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to have analysis paralysis. I want you to think about, what would you like to have? And then you have to think about, okay, what is it going to take to do that? If my average ticket is this, then how many more customers am I going to have? That's where you can really dig down into the numbers if you really want to project something that's fairly accurate. Is figuring out how many times do I go to a service call and it turns into an opportunity where I get to bid some equipment. If you know that number, and we're not totally there yet, so don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that this is the power of projection, is if you know that number, then you can estimate, like, okay, what's it gonna take? How many more clients am I gonna have to get in order to produce those numbers that I actually want? So, but I'm getting off on a tangent there. I just want you to think about next year. What's gonna change to allow growth that you're looking for? What are you going to do differently? It's this, you could go through SWOT. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where is the opportunity that you already have right now in front of you that you're not seeing? And then what are the threats? What could come after you to possibly hurt what you've done, to stifle your growth? The reality is we all have good years and we all have bad years. For whatever reasons, there's 1,000 different things that can pop up that can, instantly turn your good year into a bad year. So sometimes we have to tread water for a minute, fix things to see that exponential growth that we're looking for. But those things have to be fixed, and sometimes it takes time to fix those things. It's not something that happens overnight. But if those are the right things that you're fixing, because you can see what it's going to turn into, business-wise, profit-wise, dollar-wise, then that's probably the best thing you need to do. That's the thing you need to work on. Because if you work on those things, then you can have, and only then, can you have the exponential growth that you're looking for in your company. So my main message, I know I got off on a couple of tangents here, but my main message is it's time to start thinking about next year. It's time to figure out new budgets. If you're in my course, you'll know that I recommend purchasing some stuff from Ellen Rohr. Ellen Rohr, I kind of look at her, how she occurs to me is she's a numbers guru, but she's way more than that. But she is a numbers guru. She understands the financial part of the business. So if you haven't checked out Ellen Rohr, you got to look into her stuff because she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. But she has something called a baby budget, I believe. Her baby budget. And it's just a really quick sheet that you can play with. Go in there, enter some numbers, and it's going to ask you some questions like, how much do you want to earn as an owner next year? How much is the administrative cost going to be? And you punch in all these numbers, and it's going to show you what you're going to have to charge hourly in order to achieve that result. So I want to challenge you to do something. Start, have your financial person right now that's in your company, have them give you a printout of all the months that you've done this year. And if you can, get them for the last 3 years, just the total revenue in each month. That's what we look at. We look at the total revenue, we average that revenue from 3 years, and then we add whatever percentage we are looking to grow. That's going to be our new target going into the new year, going into 2020. But it's nice to have that history, but if you don't have that history yet, that's okay. Look at what you've done this year. Months can be similar in our business, with the exception of some bigger jobs that may have closed or didn't close. You know what I'm saying? Most months are fairly relative to each other as far as the amount of business you're going to do, maybe the amount of service calls you're going to do. Now, as you're growing the company, it is possible to have some exponential months. Like, holy cow, we saw 75 more customers this year than we did last year. We did not predict that, and we did not see that. And that's going to happen. That's the whole thing of projections and working on next year's business plan, is that it's all unknown. It's a WAG. That's what Ellen calls it. It's a wild ass guess. It's really just a guess, but it can help you make some decisions on the steps that you're going to take throughout the year, having an idea of what your monthly goals are going to be. And then you can course correct throughout the month when you know that, hey, we projected 150,000 this month, and we're only at 75,000, and we only got 12 days left. Well, we're a little bit past halfway, so we're not quite on pace. It's just knowing little things like that. Okay, well, how can we grab a little more from the next couple of things that we do to ensure that we hit our goals, so we see the kind of growth that we were looking for, and that growth pays for the stuff that we had into our projection, like an increase in your salary. So it's things like this that we have to look at, and now is the time. Now's the time to get in there, find out what you did last year, what you're doing, what you're gonna do next year. Take a wild ass guess. That's really all it is. That's all business planning is. Of course, there can be some science behind it when you have some history. But without history, it's a wild ass guess, and there's still so many things about it that are a wild ass guess. So just do the best you can. It's better to have some plan than no plan. That's what I can tell you. Get in there, check into Ellen Rohr's baby budget. I paid $8 for it. $8, I think, is what she charges for that, and it's worth it. That spreadsheet is worth it because it allows me to think about the future of my business, particularly next year in my business. If you own one of my class, if you're in the membership, I added I've already talked about the spreadsheet in one of the other courses, but if you're in the membership, I did add a planner, a business planner for next year in there. So get in there and print that out. Fill out the questions that it's going to ask you, and determine what you're going to do. You got to have the vision, like I've talked so many times about. You got to have the vision for next year, and I think that it will serve you to spend some time on this, so we know what we're going to do, and then we'll figure out how we're going to get there. So That's it, guys. You got to do this to go make money. So get in there, get it done, download that list, and or download that business plan so you can go make money. Boom.